day everyone, welcome back to my class. Today, we will discuss the human variation as a social being. In this video, we will learn the importance and understanding of what makes us different. There are two primary factors that can shape human differences: our history and our environment. And human differences can also shape human behavior that serves as an adaptive tool, and it can also cause conflict to the society. Like when it comes to politics, religion, gender, race, culture, and many more. This picture shows human variations. If we can notice, different people shows different attributes and features. And our human variations has two primary factors. We have our history and our environment. Our history and our environment can shape the behavior of humans. And that behavior serve as an adaptive tool for the varied stimuli projected by the environment and our history. It can affect our or influence our beliefs, practices, and our material possessions. And these are the following human variations that shape our behavior: our race, nationality, ethnicity. We have our gender, religion, socioeconomic class, political identity, and our culture. And we need to understand and know the following to avoid conflicts to our society. Because sometimes the following human variations can also cause conflicts. Let us discuss the two human variations. This picture shows an Eskimo family wearing a thick garments or clothes to adapt to their environment. While the second picture shows an African tribe wearing a single layer clothes. Same reason, to adapt to their environment. They have a different ways of living, but same reason is to survive to their own environment. Another human variations that we can notice on the two pictures are ethnicity and nationality. They have different when it comes to ethnicity or ethnic groups and to their nationality. When we see ethnicity, this is the feeling of affinity or loyalty towards to a particular population, cultural group, or territorial area. And when we say nationality, the identity that is tied to being part of a nation or country, group of people who share the same history, traditions, and language. Nationality is the larger term for group of people in a country or nation. While when we say ethnicity, it refers to the subgroups of people inside a nation or country. For example, when we say nationality, we can identify your nationality as part of a one nation. For example, people from Luzon to Mindanao, they have the same nationality. We call it as Filipino. While when we see ethnicity, we have several ethnic groups inside the country. For example, in Luzon, we have different or several ethnic groups like Ivatan in Batanes, we have Mangyans in Mindanao. While in Visayas, we have Ilocano in Iloilo, Cebuano in Cebu. While in Mindanao, we have
Badjao in Zamboanga or Sulu, or Muslim people can classify also as ethnic groups in Mindanao. And there is a feeling of affinity or belongingness towards to their territorial area. That is why we can identify their cultural groups or the traditions of people from each territorial area inside or around the country or nation. Another example of nationality. Here are the different examples of nationality around the world. We have an African, Arabic, European in western part of the world. We have Indian, Chinese, and Americans. And our ethnicity and nationality can shape another human variation. And that is our next discussion, which is race. Based on our history, we have three basic types of race. We have Negroid. Negroid represented the human race of Central and Southern Africa. Their physical attributes described as they have a black skin, a thick lips, flat nose, large teeth, and they have a black curly hair. While Caucasoid or European represented Western people with white complexion of their skin and rosy cheeks, with brown or blonde hair and a thin lips and narrow nose. While Mongoloid represented Asian people with their black and straight hair, with an almond-shaped eyes and brown skin. Therefore, when we say race is a form of human classification that was based on observable human traits and characteristics. Race has a large impact to our society because race can be a mechanism of social division. For example, in our history. In our history, when we see black people, they are classified as slaves, specifically those white people or Western or American people. A lot of African slaves before during the colonization. And that mechanism or ideology or racial worldview in North America allows the stigma that races are unequal. They can and should be ranked on a gradient of inferiority and superiority. So, our race can be classified as your social class in our society. That if you are a black people, you are considered as slaves or in a lower class. While if you are a white people, you are considered as superior in our society. And that is very a big no. And this stigma called as racism. And racism can cause a different social issues around the world. One of the latest social issues regarding with racism is the case of George Floyd. Let us discuss this. According to New York Times, on May 25, 2020, Minneapolis officers arrested George Floyd because a convenience store employee called 911 and told that Mr. Floyd had bought cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. And while the police arresting George Floyd, based on the CCTV, it shows that officers taking a series of actions that violated the police of the Minneapolis Police Department and turned fatal, leaving Mr. Floyd unable to breathe, even as he and onlookers called out for help. And it leads to George Floyd's death. And the death of George Floyd considered as inhumane treatment of those white people. And the death of George Floyd became a symbol and rallying cry for protesters, not only in America or US, but also around the world. And this scenario shows or caused a lot of riot in USA. And this scenario or tragedy would serve as a lesson to everybody that we need to treat everybody equal. That everyone lives matter. According to Rosa Parks, one of the activists in USA, that there is only one race and that is human race. And I strongly believe to her that our race or our physical attributes is not a basis of our abilities and disposition in our society. That when we say black people, they are considered as least people in our society. And when we say white people, considered as superior in our society. That stigma is so irrational. And we should and must remove that stigma in our society because it can cause conflicts or war that leads to killing of people or hurting of people. And that is prejudice. The best thing that we are going to do is just like on the video clip that you have been watched, we should love and treat each other equally and treat us or treat people with no labels and unconditional. Let us judge people by their actions and not to their physical appearance. And I want you to remember this, that humans have a lot of differences, but we are all equal. There is no superior, there is no least in our society. Again, humans have a lot of differences, but we are all